Television is our eye on the world. Distant historic events, actually witnessed by few, are broadcast on television news to 40 million Americans nightly. Of the hundreds of news stories reported each day, only about 30 can be aired on the local evening shows. In New York, 1 million viewers tune in Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Good evening, I'm Roger Grimsby. Here now the news.
Before the camera, the familiar anchorman. But behind the camera, and in the control room, lies a world most of us never see.
Ready to dissolve the P4 at silence.
Strange jargon fills the air in this electronic world of screens, buttons, barked orders, and millions of dollars worth of equipment.
Speaker to Bob Miller, reveal.
But the day begins slowly, quietly, in the newsroom. All the day's activity is generated from the assignment desk.
Joe, I want you to go to Gold's office, you know, D.A. Gold's office. Yeah.
It is not the anchorman, but the assignment editor who decides which local stories to cover. He's in first at 6 a.m. Aided by his assistant and surrounded by communications equipment, he controls the ever-changing locations of crews and reporters miles away.
Hello there, this is Unit 11.
Okay, Bob, I just wondering if you were on the way.
Yes, we're about to get on the West Side Highway.
Let me know if we can actually get pictures of the gambler. I'll send you courier.
The assignment editor checks the newspapers, 8 news tickers, press releases, and a day book listing 40 scheduled news events. He monitors the police radio. Then he decides which reporter will go with which crew to which story.
Highway.
Melba 5-4.
Melba Tolliver has been a news reporter since 1967, when she stood in for a striking newswoman.
What's happening anyway? No. With you?
In at 9 a.m. to wait for the assignment editor's decision. She has no idea where she'll be going today.
Bert Rimmel is shooting Seamus. Van Cannon and Lindsay's going to show up for around 10:30 at Park 45
Well,
Sutton
maybe I
Place
could
South.
go and shoot it and then do a stand-up. What time is this?
At 10:30. I'll give you the landing crew.
One of 7 crews. The landing crew leaves the plain, inconspicuous ABC building for their unmarked car. In this tough city, identification is an open invitation to danger. Once a clearly marked ABC car was actually firebombed. With Melba, they speed off to the day's first story.
Okay.
Inside, a team of desk assistants keeps the newsroom running smoothly, keeping track of graphics for rear screen projection behind the anchormen, rushing film to the lab,
Making a special report.
grabbing wire stories, and taking phone tips.
Jane, demonstration at the Russian consulate, 5:30 tonight.
To get stories first and fast, the assignment editor has his own special sources.
We have police tipsters down at police headquarters. We often will hear about a story faster by hearing it on the radio. Mainly, I will try to get spot news, if I can at all. There's a fire, disaster, or riot, or anything like that.
Mayor Lindsay actively promotes filmmaking in New York City. Melba's coverage of this stage story will be free publicity for the actors, the movie, and the city's film industry.
There are few scoops in television news because most organizations depend upon the same sources. I didn't expect to enjoy this story, but I did try to make it interesting and turned out liking it myself. I enjoyed talking to Diane Cannon.
New York on several other occasions, and each one of them has been a joy. And of course, I'm in New York at the prettiest time of the year. I love it here now. And Central Park is alive, and the blossoms are out, and spring is in the air. It's really beautiful.
And to Burt Reynolds.
You know, ordinarily, being a reporter, I don't like to believe these handouts, PR notes on famous people, but I understand you're a very sharp guy, very quick wit.
Yes, I am.
One of the most difficult aspects of this job is having to report a story directly from the scene. It means getting there, getting the story, and presenting it on film. Very often it means the reporter must go over and over a story until he gets a good take.
I picked up a few bits of I picked up a few bits of miscellaneous information about this movie that might interest you. Number one, no, let me start again. And there are a few bits of miscellaneous information about this movie you might be interested in. First of all, the title, Seamus. According to director...
Yes, Jane? Tony, we need a crew to go on this water main break on East 80th Street.
Sometimes, regular programming is interrupted for news bulletins from a specially equipped flash news desk.
A major water main break is reported in New York City's Yorkville district. The break in a 48-inch main has flooded streets in the vicinity of East 80th between 2nd and 3rd Avenues and caused traffic in the area to be rerouted. I'm Bob Lake. We'll have complete details on tonight's Eyewitness News at 6.
A film crew usually covers 4 or 5 stories a day. In their careers, this could add up to some 15,000. The reporter is the director on the scene.
I'd like to make a high shot.
Not yet, not yet. Then there's a water line marked over there, and then let's go get Kretschmer.
Let me make some of the people in the home looking out the window. How's that look?
Well, give me the whole home, why don't you?
Oh, yeah. Medium shot, long shot, close-up.
There's always an eyewitness to tell the story.
When it happened, what did you hear, see, and do? I couldn't see anything from my window since there's a terrace, and I went to my living room, looked out, and saw a river on 80th Street.
Teamwork on a TV crew doesn't always mean working side by side, but trusting that each is doing his part.
Maybe he got sucked up into the sewer.
I'm quite sure he is getting good shots. I just wish I knew exactly where he was.
Hey, Shady! Look at the fish, look at the fish. There's no fish.
Wape spots a city official on the scene.
I see Kretschmer yonder there. Why don't we walk up there and go across without drowning?
Some reporters let a story like this build itself. A good reporter builds the story.
Can this make for firefighting problems? Right now, I understand there was a fire in the neighborhood this morning.
No problem at all.
Run away.
No, we got enough water pictures that we can cover any your high shot. Let's wrap it up.
The film rolls off to the lab, and Bob Lape is off to another story. Meanwhile, throughout drier parts of the city, ABC crews zero in on other news. Without their work, there's no sound or action, just words like a newspaper or radio story. The cameraman, soundman, and lighting man know how to work together efficiently, even in the midst of noisy demonstrations. Each crew sends in about an hour and a half of film every day. A good television news director is coach, talent scout, manager, and disciplinarian wrapped into one. Al Primo selects the news team that works best together on the air. Policy decisions are hammered out with the executive producer and the assistant news director.
7 key congressional races.
My job is basically to provide the direction and the philosophy of the coverage. The whole concept of Eyewitness News has been designed to put the trust and the emphasis on the correspondent who is out on the scene. The emphasis here is on communication. What you see on Eyewitness News, or any other news program for that matter, is a team of people. What you don't see is the real news team, which is hundreds of people filming, editing, preparing, and planning, and putting together this vehicle that represents the news.
This man never goes on location, never appears on the screen. Yet the producer's decisions affect everything you see on the air. He arranges some 30 stories and 20 commercials to fit exactly into 58 minutes and 57 seconds. And he must bear the burden of killing a finished story.
All right. Listen, it's this Seamus thing you did. I got a problem tonight. I got about 4 different stories involved with this, with movies and show business and the Vietnam thing, so I'm not going to be able to use it.
Well, then you can just use it tomorrow, you think?
Do you think it'll hold?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get very upset?
No, not at all.
Nothing personal.
9 writers transform news agency stories into conversational television style. A separate sheet for each story, so the producer can arrange them at will. Reporters like Bob Lape usually write their own stories, always hoping to read them on the air for the extra pay. Six editors trim down an average of 20 minutes of each batch of film to a few minutes. The film is edited to illustrate the story. They work fast, deciding what to keep, what to throw out. Once edited, the story must be cleared by the producer.
Hi, John.
Hello, Steve.
How's it going with this thing?
Well, there's got a lot of time here. Well, how do you want to cut it down? Or...
How long is it?
It's 1:50 now.
1:50. I understand Kretschmer had a bad cold. Can you let me listen to his audio a little bit, please?
It'll be one of the gates.
It does sound a little funny, but I guess it'll work.
It'll come up. It'll sound pretty good.
Cutaways?
Yes.
Gradually
yes.
further on down, and we'll get the water.
How's the B-roll?
Well, you got a lot of good scenes of the water flowing down the streets and out of the building.
Fine. Why don't you, let's roll on down there and let me see the tag. I want to make sure that's I love that shot of those guys spinning around.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's take this out and let's...
It's going to be on, this
It's going to
goes
be
about...
on this your B-roll here.
It goes about 10 after. You think we'll be all right with a
Oh,
double
we'll have,
Mylar?
yeah, we'll have time. I wouldn't want to own that car.
Yeah, let's use that shot.
Yeah,
Great.
good. That's good shot, Steve.
Great story, right?
That's nice.
Okay,
Okay.
I think 1:50 will, sounds like good piece.
Fine,
We'll use it.
good.
Okay,
It'll
John.
stand up a minute.
Good. Take care.
Okay, Steve.
To help illustrate his stories, the producer orders about 16 graphic illustrations per show, drawn up by staff artists. They are later photographed onto cells for projection behind the anchormen.
Eyewitness. Geraldo on 6.
Geraldo Rivera was a lawyer before becoming a TV reporter. He breaks with tradition in openly expressing his opinions on the air.
I thought we were going to use the tape recorder.
Well, we're going to try this one out. I think it'll probably work even better.
Okay.
Is that new?
It's the wireless mic. You know what we're doing with this?
But it doesn't look like the one I had to wear that time. Don't you think he's going to recognize you?
I don't care if he recognizes me, as long as he doesn't recognize my microphone.
Well, if he recognizes you, then he's not going to say what he bought.
Well, I'm just going to confront them. I'll say, well, what do you mean? You bought 10 cups of coffee in a half an hour? Who's kidding who? You bought some heroin, didn't you?
Rivera is at his best exposing serious injustice. In bringing the shocking conditions of mental institutions, old people's hospitals, and drug-ridden slums to television, he has changed people's awareness and has often brought about constructive action.
And I know that this is true because I've personally bought it, you know, off the streets, right, and from clinics.
While heading back to the newsroom, the crew is diverted to another story.
Calling Unit 5. Unit 5.
This is Unit 5.
Go to the ITT building.
Park Avenue and 51st. I'll send you a courier.
Okay, good enough. Tell him to look for us so he can stick with us in case the thing moves. That way we can just jump in the car as soon as we've got it in the can, over.
Rivera agrees with ABC policy that people watching TV in their living rooms respond better to reporters who are natural.
I see the newsman just as being more than a conduit of information. There's no reason why he has to stand on Mount Olympus and lecture the people as to what he's seen in coolly objective terms.
This is Carrie Van Zyl. Can you give me the mayor's schedule?
Tony, we're going to need a courier on that, too. ITT.
Wherever you see this movement, that's what I want. I want to show like streams of humanity flowing.
At this time, the anchormen arrive to write their stories and go over the script.
This Vietnam package is incredibly
The producer
complicated.
briefs Bill Butel.
I've got it all broken down. If I give you a little flight plan with the angle I want you to cover and the amount of time, and the RPs and the whole works, breakdown, piece by piece.
Fine, all right. And irons out a point with anchorman Roger Grimsby.
Right on that, that's on tape. Tape goes here.
On the producer's orders, stories are polished and changed. Graphics are photographed on cells. More film edited.
Get him clearing the streets.
Camera crews from rival TV stations converge on the scene as traffic on Park Avenue is blocked.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
The courier arrives to get the first roll of film. As he speeds it back, another is quickly loaded. Rushed to the newsroom, a desk assistant speeds the film to the lab. It will be ready in only 40 minutes. Once the producer has numbered the script sheets, a desk assistant sorts the copies. One for the associate director, the anchorman, the director, the audio man, the producer. The basis of everything now, the script is copied onto teleprompter rolls in large type, easily read by the anchorman. The director and associate director check every second of the script's timing.
What's the DEF on, Larry?
52. Commercials are on 33.
One film channel.
91.
The film from the demonstration has been developed. Then it will be edited and taken to the studio projectors. Back before 6 to write his story, Geraldo Rivera has left his camera crew at the demonstration to shoot more action.
Stocks on camera 2. Hello. I beg your pardon, cello 1. It's on cello 1. That's limbo. Okay.
At 5:45, all is ready. And Bill Butel joins Roger Grimsby for the trek down the block to the studio.
Better get going, Bill.
I suppose. I guess it's time. Think we can fill in half an hour? Cigarettes.
Don't mind it today, but when it's raining, it's miserable.
It's okay. Thank you. Change cell.
However, there are compensations, aren't there?
What are they? All right, let's do the page. Yeah, Roger starts it off with 2, 3, 3A, 4, Bill, 3, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7A, 8, 9, 10.
You did this on purpose.
I'll work you in on page 11 and 12.
You're gonna work me in here at 11?
Roger, 13 and... 38A, 38B, 38C, 38D, 39, Bill 39A.
That's terrific, Steve. You do act like Lieutenant Commander of the Navy.
Full Commander, 3 broad stripes.
Bill.
It's Bill. After all, it's our war now.
Say something funny.
Stand by, here we go.
7, Captain.
Okay, stand by. Quiet. 5. 10 seconds. 5.
Theme. We'll have to finish better. Theme on the renounce. Stand by to take camera 3.
Eyewitness News. The 6 o'clock report in color with Roger Grimsby, Bill Butel, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, I'm Roger Grimsby. Here now the news. Clifford Irving has been subpoenaed to appear in a Los Angeles court.
The producer watches anxiously as the show, ink on paper, images on film, comes alive in the hands of the television director and the personalities on screen. With split-second timing, the director picks shots from 16 screens, directs the floor manager and 3 cameramen. Unlike national news shows, this local show is live, and mistakes cannot be erased.
In that area and caused thousands of dollars worth of damage. Bob Labe covered it, has this report. Bob?
Bill, this was a very stubborn problem, one that city water supply crews had not licked fully 4 hours after it began. The pipe, almost 100 years old, loosing tons of water into the street and nearby basements. The nursing home's parking lot, with both cars and trash cans awash in the sudden tide. Men around the maypole.
48
During the film report, the producer has time to warn Bill Butel of an impending change.
Yes. I told you, never call me here. You don't think that we ought to make that the first demonstration story instead of the one that we do have, number 5?
Roll 30.
Show them a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Take it.
30.
And even if it is, as Mr. Kretschmer said earlier, the cleanest block in town now, the city says that block on East 80th Street will be closed indefinitely to traffic due to the damage done to the pavement. Bill?
Thank you, Bob. 68% of the precincts have reported, and it appears that...
Stand by, camera 2 ready to tighten up on Bill and the URP. Does off the P4.
Because of the latest film reports from the ITT demonstration, the script must be changed in mid-show.
P7, 3, 2, fade to black.
After making the necessary changes, the producer sends the story with a desk assistant down to the studio floor during a commercial break.
34.
When headache pain. It's 3A, stay as Would you run it up? Now, prompter, we're on page 5 now. But why don't you just come up to page 8 and I'll do page 5. 7, 8 is in the script. Come up to page 9. Beautiful.
And seconds. Stand by to take camera 2. Take 2.
We told you earlier about the protest against the war along Park Avenue that turned into some violence. Geraldo Rivera went to cover it. He's back now with this report. Geraldo?
Bill, with anti-war sentiment running as strongly as it does here in the city, there was never any question that the most recent escalation of the fighting in Southeast Asia would cause renewed demonstrations against the war.
Take it.
It was all peaceful enough, with the demonstrators making the point that the same company that makes Wonder Bread, Twinkies, and Morton's pot pies is also manufacturing hardware for the air war. Then came the turning point, and what had been a non-violent demonstration turned ugly. The mounted police were given the order to move them, and all hell broke loose. I saw several of the demonstrators clubbed and dragged away, and I also saw one of the mounted policemen injured by a missile thrown by a demonstrator.
Stand by, take 30.
As all hell breaks.
by camera, too. Take two.
The demonstration was still going on when I left about an hour ago, and I have absolutely no idea how many people were arrested or how many protesters or policemen were hurt. But I do know that I hate that ugly war. It's being fought across the world, but it's setting Americans against Americans right here at home.
Hoping your news is good news, I'm Roger Grimsby.
I'm Bill Butel. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
How come there are no tally lights?
Are we using those anymore?
There were no tally lights on that camera.
They never work anyhow.
No, it's not.
They're all. Doesn't mean it.
You know, I wonder why they can't make the tally light all the way up instead of just a little top on the top.